the Shadow Sword. It is a chassis of Baneblade, one of the most powerful tanks within the 40k verse. With its Volcano Cannon Titan Killer weapon on top, it is one of the most powerful weapons in the whole of 40k. And I've put a speaker in it. I'm a fire in my labor! What's going on, guys? Welcome back. And in today's video, we are resuming Warhammer content once again, and I feel like I'm going to come at you pretty hard and fast with this Shadow Sword. Now, I am surprisingly incredibly happy with how this has turned out. I've tried a couple of new techniques for masking, and then I also tried a new sort of idea going forth in order to get it just getting that paint texture just right. So working on a new rust effect that I think works really nicely. So without further ado, click like, let's subscribe, share this video if you enjoy it, and get into it. Now let's just get through a couple of things quickly. To begin with, I've magnetised the two sponsons, or the two las cannons on top of the sponsons. I've put some liquid latex on the two front lights just to see whether this is a plausible idea or not before I went ahead and actually just went for it. And also I've done that cast iron steel effect that I've done, or cast steel effect, on some of the armor plating on this, just to make them look like they have been replaced, because I'm a dire armor builder, you know, dominantly, let's get the words out. So I like my models. I will learn to talk tomorrow. So I like my models to tell a story, and that's what I've tried to do with this, is make this tank tell its story visually. Just by looking at it, you can see it's been in many a battle. I want it to look like it was a Krieg tank first, and now it's been taken on by KHAINES, so it's been repainted. All these little crazy ideas. But first, let's finish up this prep work and then get it base coated, and cross our fingers and hope for the best that the liquid latex holds up to the job and peels off later. So, I want my tank to have some character. I always like to do things like this. I'm always trying different things. Eventually, I will standardise what I'm doing with my armoured company, and we will be able to progress forward in a more uniformed way. But until that point, I'm going to be hitting this with some Eshin Grey, because I want this to look like it was pre-owned by the Kriegs. It's now been requisitioned over to the KHAINES, which is my Imperial Guard force. With that, I'm going to paint up some certain areas, and then I'm going to hit it with some Mechanicum Standard Grey. Add a couple of decals, one or two maybe, let's not go overboard. Then we will hit it with some washes, which will be Nuln Oil and Agrax Earth. And once that's done, we can go on to our next stage. So what I've done here is I've taken this liquid latex, and using an old brush that I don't mind getting ruined, I've selected a few areas that I've pre-painted, put some transfers on, and that I want to have a rust effect coming through, because this will add a texture underneath the paint to sort of show that the rust is bubbling up. And I'll put an example photo up around here somewhere just to sort of show you what I mean. So it gives that flaking effect on the paint. And I put a relatively thick layer on just because I've never done this before, as I've said, and this is all trial and error. So now, once that has fully dried, and I would suggest you let it fully dry before going to this next stage, we're going to be getting our main battle colours on. So making it look like a Cadian vehicle now. And for the green, I'm going to be using Citadel's Castellan green with a highlight of Death Guard green. And then for the khaki colours, I'm going to be using Steel Legion drab. And from the Lame Ho game colour, I shall be using khaki. And then I'm also going to add some chocolate brown on, just as a slight accent colour to go between that green and khaki. So let's fire it away and get it done. Well, my oh my, she looking fancy. She a fancy girl. Oh, I've had too much caffeine. So this is looking pretty good. I'm definitely happy with the results here. Now, it's the time, the moment of truth. Is this latex going to reveal the details? Oh, let's find out. Way, yeah. Oh no, I'm happy with that. Look at that. Oh, that's worked out all right. I knew it'd be fine. It'd be fine. You just got to try these things. Right, so I'm going to skip over a fair bit. Otherwise, this video is going to go on and on and on because there's so much I could talk about here. But I've already done them in other videos. Those cast steel plates are going to get painted in Elysian green and then numbed down with Nuln oil. We're going to do some of the other details, but let's get on to the rest of the rust and finishing up that rust technique. So to finish up our rust features, I suppose you could say, on all those areas where we have peeled back the latex, we're going to just add some Vallejo tuss. Oh my god, I told you I'm going to learn to talk tomorrow. Vallejo rust texture. Very similar to typhus corrosion, but you get much more for the price. I would personally suggest buying this. We're going to go over all those areas where the paint is chipped up and just choose some areas on our tank as well. Once we've gone over and got all our areas where we want to make it look like rust has come through, so anything that's protruding out where it might catch and the paint might chip away, that's where we want to put our rust. So once we've done that, we're going to be putting a wash of Vallejo's light rust over the top of the rust texture. So just to recap, once you put the rust texture down, you put your light rust down. Once you've got your light rust down and covered all your rust areas, all your rusted areas should then look rusty. Did you follow? So then our very last step is going to be to get some pigment powders down. And for that, I'm going to use old rust and light oxide. And with that, ooh, she looking pretty. This is Barrow's Bane. I see her as a tank that's gone from hand to hand, battle to battle, replaced, repaired, repainted. It's got that little story to it. It's not a diorama, but it feels like a diorama, if that makes sense, because it's telling a story through a model. Guys, thank you so much for joining me on yet another hobby journey. I really hope you enjoyed this one, and if you have, please remember to like, subscribe, share to your friends, because if you've enjoyed it, I'm sure one of them will as well. And with that, I hope to see you in the next one.